What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex. In this video, I want to talk about a very interesting rumor on, I suppose, both Spyro and Crash, and this comes from Liam Robertson. Now, if you don't know who that is, I've actually talked about him a couple times in the past. Well, number one, he knows his stuff, and number two, this guy works extremely hard, has brought not just some big scoops, but has done, I think, some amazing investigative journalism, by the way, the brand of which has been dying, I think, for a long time from these game journalists. He's maybe one of the last of a dying breed. But, he was, of course, the one who broke, and not just broke, but went in such amazing detail on the canceled Crash 5, right? The Crash kind of Spyro crossover event that was supposed to be and then obviously wasn't. So this is a guy that I think he knows his stuff. I think he's obviously got contacts. He's got somebody on the inside, that's able to kind of feed him some info. So he did a podcast on, I believe, on his Patreon. You can, subscribe or, donate to watch the entire thing. I actually think you can look at a small preview just for free. But I saw this from Matt96 over on Twitter, which by the way, to this individual, amazing discovery, I think, there as well, because I think this is kind of buried, in the podcast from Liam. So he says, Activision/Microsoft news from Liam Robertson. Early last year, there were discussions about more Spyro, Tony Hawk, and Crash Team Racing content. It's unsure whether CTR is actually in development or not, and then a mainline Crash Bandicoot game is not, in all caps, in development. And then it says, once again, thanks to Liam for the report. With this knowledge in mind, we can 100% assume that Spyro is next on the list to release, considering we had TH earlier this year, of course, Tony Hawk. So, I think that's probably right on the money. So let me first start off by just saying the immense disappointment and sadness in my soul on the Crash Bandicoot thing. Look, to be honest with you, did we assume that? Should we have expected that? Yeah. There's been rumors, I guess, over the last couple months that something has changed there, and that's the thing. I will throw that in just to be the most cautiously optimistic as humanly possible. Things change, and a game can even change things. I think a game like an Astrobot, even though that thing's not out there selling 5, 10, 15 million units, I think Astrobot can send a message to, say, PlayStation, or it can send a message to Xbox for a Banjo-Kazooie type thing. I think all it really takes is a game or a event or something to happen here or there, and it could happen tomorrow, it could happen 2 weeks ago, and you could be having discussions now that you weren't having a year ago. I just want to kind of throw that in there, just to not to give you false belief, but to just say, and maybe I'm coping, honestly, is something that could be happening here. But, because I do believe that a mainline Crash game is not in development. That makes sense. It makes sense. It sucks. I think it's an insane idea. I think that makes me very mad at Microsoft. I think it makes me mad at Activision. It makes me mad, at anybody involved. But does it make sense that they're not making one, or does that, sound right, past that kind of check? Yeah, it does. But I also wouldn't say that means it's forever dead. Because actually, two things. One, if they're going to be considering Crash Team Racing content, then they are thinking of Crash in a way, right? Now, again, the next mainline Crash, that's a different thing than Team Racing for sure. But, if you're even considering Team Racing content, that means that Crash is still there, in the brains of some of these executives that, thank God, because you don't want that to leave their brains. It might never come back, okay? So, that's just to throw that in. And then, I guess the first part of that, there were discussions on more Spyro, Tony Hawk, and Crash Team Racing content. So, early last year, so you're talking early 2024. So you're talking about 2 years ago, almost 2 years ago. And again, I do think that's where I would kind of, stop and say a lot can change in 2 years. In fact, games can get greenlit, within 2 years. So I don't know if that's the be-all, end-all, but then you do kind of see, well, what do you see? You kind of see the results of that speculation or of that rumor, because, yeah, you got another Tony Hawk thing, right? Now, is that where Tony Hawk starts and ends? Well, it's definitely not where it starts, because they've done this before. But is it where it stops? Maybe, maybe not. Spyro. Okay, well, Spyro is mentioned, but of course, Spyro is the only one, because at least Crash Team Racing has had, they post that it sold 10 million units, back in June, and now we're seeing all this stuff. Here's the thing, too, I want to also interject and say, just a prediction of mine. I'm really losing hope that it's a Team Racing 2. I think it's very likely it's the PC remaster type, which, look, again, if you're enhancing a game, if you're adding new content, if you're keeping the game alive, literally in any way, I'll take it, because we're really at a situation with this game and with Crash in general where it's nothing or something. And even if something is not specifically what we want, at least it is something, So I don't want a team racing remastered again. I don't like going on PC. I think that is a good idea. It's not that I don't want that, but is that going to move the needle? Hey, maybe it moves the needle down the line. Maybe it does well on PC. Maybe it reinvigorates the game, and maybe they say, okay, well, now we'll do a team racing too. Maybe not now they're doing one, but maybe they will a couple months from now or a couple months after. Whatever happens, right? So that's to kind of throw that out. But Spyro is the only one, in terms of rumors for Crash and then Tony Hawk legitimately getting a thing. Spyro is the only one that's been left in limbo. So I do agree with Matt's analysis there that hopefully that's the situation. I think Toys for Bob lines up well with that. The purple, all the stuff we've always talked about, Canadian guys talked about a lot as well, right? I've got to believe that Toys for Bob is doing Spyro. It's our only hope. It's the only shot that we have humanly possible, for that game to be happening in any way. So hopefully we get it. Honestly, hopefully we get either or I guess either and. Is that a phrase? I want that team racing content because even though I don't think it's gonna change my life in any substantial way, it gets it out there, reinvigorates it, and then maybe they go back to the drawing board and we can get something new from that. And then Spyro, of course, kind of like a blank canvas. You can really do whatever you want, and I would imagine hopefully a brand new game would be that answer. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure, as always, you're subscribed to the channel, bell icon turned on, and I hope to see you all on the next one.